Hey guys, so today I'm doing a video all about sex and relationships and health. I got a lot of questions and I wanted to answer them for you guys. Just think of me as an older sister, someone that is not going to judge you but will give you my honest opinions and advice. But I do not know everything, and if you do have a serious problem with your body or something you're worried about, you should definitely ask a doctor, because I can only give you what I've gone through, and like I said, I just don't know everything. So the first question comes from Kendall, and she said, my period is late, what do I do? Does this mean I'm pregnant? And first of all, there are a few different reasons that your period could be late. You might just have irregular periods, which is pretty common to just not have periods that happen exactly, the same time of the month every month. It also could have to do with like a weight gain or loss, a diet change. And also if you're really stressed out, I know that can cause your period to be a little bit late or delayed. But if you've had unprotected sex, it is possible that you're pregnant, and the only way to figure that out is by going and buying a pregnancy test, and you can buy one at a grocery store or like a CVS or a Walgreens, and you need to use that obviously to figure out if you are pregnant or not. And I think if you're too embarrassed to buy a pregnancy test, just as if you're too embarrassed to buy condoms, you are probably too immature to be having sex, because when you are having sex, there is always a possibility that you might end up pregnant. So definitely go ahead and check that out and just do the things that you need to do to make sure you're taking care of yourself, and you can figure out why that's not working out and why you may be having a little bit of a scare right now. The next question is from Jennifer, and she says, tell me about going to the gynecologist / getting on birth control. And I actually have a whole video about birth control and about periods, so I'll go ahead and list them below if you want to check them out. But basically for me, going to the gynecologist, it wasn't scary. I mean, I think a lot of people are worried about having an exam and the checkup. Of course, I have a female doctor. I know a lot of people are asking if you had a male or female. You can choose, obviously, and whatever your preference is, whatever you're most comfortable with, do that. You of course should trust your doctor. You should feel comfortable with them. There is a nurse in the room when you're having the checkup, and it's completely professional and it's quick, and it really shouldn't be like uncomfortable or awkward or anything. It is just something they have to do to make sure everything is okay and is working right and all that kind of stuff. And as far as going on birth control, I talked more about it in the other video, but for me, I did notice a bit of weight gain, and a lot of people in the comments were telling me that's not true and that's like fake, and people say that. But my doctor had even kind of warned me about that, and she had told me about the different methods. You can get like a pill, a shot, you can do implants, you can just do a bunch of different stuff. And there are some methods that are supposed to make you gain more weight than others. It's just something proven. They've done studies on it. And so of course, going to a gynecologist, your biggest thing is just knowledge. You'll be able to understand more about birth control and about sex and all that kind of stuff. You can ask them any questions, and they can just really help you figure out what is going to work best for you. And I think it's something really important that all girls need to do, especially if you're going to be sexually active. Maya says, what's the biggest difference of sex in high school versus in college? And this is a huge thing. It's something that was very interesting to me. At least in my high school, if you like had sex with someone or you were hooking up with someone, everyone kind of knew about it, and everyone kind of respected it and like stayed out of it in a way. So, it just was kind of known, like those two people are together, and like if someone else were to like go have sex with that guy or that girl, like it would be a huge dramatic thing. But in college, there's so many more people, you're meeting so many people, you're living on your own for the first time, you have like places to have sex, like your own apartment, your own place, a dorm room. And then a lot of people are experimenting and doing things for the first time. Alcohol can sometimes be involved, and people's inhibitions are lowered. And I just feel that sex is taken a lot less seriously in college, and people are just a lot more casual with it. And I know that can cause some people to get their feelings hurt, or that can cause a little bit of drama, but I would definitely say sex was a lot more casual than I was expecting in college, and people just had a very different outlook and a very different mindset on it. I also kind of noticed that guys really got a lot of praise for having a lot of sex. They were thought to be like really cool or studly or really hot and manly if they were like with a bunch of different girls. But then I saw that a lot of girls that slept around a lot or had like walk of shame and all that kind of stuff, they definitely got bad reputations, and people said mean things about them. And it's just, it's a bad double standard, because obviously it takes two people to have sex. But unfortunately, I think in college, a lot of people do get kind of wrapped up in that. Caitlin says, what is the best age to lose your virginity? This is something that there really is no correct answer. I think if you want to save yourself for marriage, that's fine. If you want to have sex when you're younger, that's fine as well. It's just all about doing what is comfortable for you and making sure that it is the right decision. I definitely think that you should wait for someone that you love or you care about And you should also wait for a time that is appropriate. I know a lot of people have had sex in like hurried, rushed situations, like they've been in a car or they've been like just somewhere outside or somewhere random, like not in a bed and not anywhere that I guess made the whole experience comfortable or nice or like a nice memory to look back on. And for me personally, I think you should just, you know, be careful about when you're going to do it and of course with who you're going to do it. And you need to be emotionally prepared, and you also need to be physically prepared by having some form of birth control or condoms and all that kind of stuff. But I just think not rushing it is the biggest thing, and you shouldn't feel like you have to get it over with. I don't think being a virgin is a bad thing at all, and it should never be like a race or something that you feel like you have to get done because everyone else is doing it, because it really is a personal thing and it's something that you will remember for the rest of your life, so you don't want to look back on it and regret it. Anna says, what makes a girl considered a slut? And this question is really interesting. I hate the word slut and whore and all that kind of stuff. I think it's absolutely terrible when guys call girls those names, and it's even more terrible when girls call each other those names. We have to stop doing that. It's just degrading and gross, and it's not okay. And personally, I do not care what someone else wants to do sexually. That's not my business. And so I'm not going to judge someone for, you know, wanting to have a lot of sex or wanting to have a lot of partners. And I'm also not going to judge someone for not wanting to have sex or for not wanting to sleep around with a lot of people. That is your own personal stuff. It has nothing to do with me. The only thing I think is, of course, if you are having a lot of sex or you're being with a lot of different people, you need to be safe, because obviously the more people you're with, the more risk of STDs or pregnancy and all that kind of stuff. So you just need to be careful and take care of yourself and make sure that you're being safe in whatever you choose. Rachel says, how do I know what to do / I'm feeling self-conscious about my body during sex? This is a big question. I've actually been asked a lot. And I think as far as what to do, like, I can't really tell you. I mean, basically it should just come naturally. Of course, you should be with someone that you feel comfortable with. You should be in a setting that you feel comfortable. And as far as feeling good about your body, I mean, the person that you're with should make you feel beautiful. They should make you feel, you know, valued and treasured. And I think, honestly, as girls, we have it a little bit easier. I think guys have a little bit more pressure on themselves to like perform or know what to do. And then just stating the obvious, I mean, if a guy is really into you or really, you know, sexually turned on, as awkward as that is, it's very noticeable. So, you know, I just guess put yourself at ease. Like, they have to deal with that. And, you know, as a girl, I think it's just a little bit simpler, and realize that if you're nervous, most likely the guy is also nervous as well, because he's also thinking about other things that he wants to make sure he does right or correct or, you know, to your liking. So I think, you know, to be nervous during sex or self-conscious, I think everyone probably is, but you just have to make sure that you're mentally and emotionally ready for that. Sarah says, will having sex with a guy make him love me / be my boyfriend? And the honest answer is no. You can't leverage sex and use it as a way to get someone to commit to you or want to be with you. If you do that, you are just setting yourself up for heartbreak and for a lot of hard emotional times. I've definitely seen a lot of girls that thought that was the way to get a boyfriend or the way to keep a guy, and it just wasn't. I mean, guys, when they're young, they want to experiment, they want to be with girls. A lot of them are very immature as well and may not take your feelings into consideration. So if you are going to be having sex with someone, you need to be emotionally ready for it, because it really can be hurtful if you do that and then they don't want to date you or be with you. And I've just seen a lot of friends go through that, and it's a difficult thing to do. But you also have to value yourself and realize that, you know, sex in a relationship is a component. Sexual compatibility is important. Of course, you want to be attracted and desire the other person, but that's not the only thing that goes into a relationship, and that's not the most important thing in a relationship. And you can't necessarily base a relationship off sex or say, oh, since we have sex, now we're automatically going to be together, because it just doesn't work like that. And you have to be ready to face those consequences, because, you know, no matter how much people want to act like sex is casual and they're just hookup buddies or, you know, no strings attached, it is something very intimate. I mean, you're naked with someone, you're together with them, making a connection, and people's feelings get involved. And I think people normally want to act more like they aren't, I guess, emotionally attached than they really are, and it's kind of, I guess, a stereotype that girls take it more seriously, but I do think girls do, and I think girls tend to get more upset about it if it doesn't work out or if it happens and then look back on it and regret it. So you just want to be careful when you're doing it and realize that it is a big decision, and each time you sleep with someone, you are putting, you know, your emotional needs and wants out, you know, in the open. The last question comes from Leanne, and she says, thoughts on sexting. And I have had some negative experience with this, I guess. I'm sure some of you guys know about it. And I will go more into depth in this in a further video because I think it's something that's so prevalent. So many people have dealt with this, so many people have gone through it, so many people want to talk about it and hear about it and hear opinions and, you know, what to do, what not to do, all that kind of stuff. And right now I have some legal stuff going on, so it's not the best time to speak about it, but I will speak out about it later because I think it's a very important topic. So that is a topic that I was asked to talk about today. I've also been asked to talk about like smoking weed and my thoughts on that because I did one about drinking and alcohol. I've asked to do a video about my favorite bras and how to make your boobs look good. If you guys have any specific topics you want me to do, let me know and I can try to do that, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!